Oh boy, get your comments out, Spider fans, because I'm going in. I'm about to tell each and every one of you just how much I f***ing love this game.
I totally got you guys.
And let's just get that out of the way. I love Spider-Man. He's been my favorite character of all time for as long as I can remember. And I love this game. But because I love Spider-Man and I love this game so much, the things I don't like about it really stand out to me. Really, it's Marvel's Spider-Man 2, but it actually has more in common with Spider-Man 3. No, not that. I had a weird experience playing this game. There'll be times playing this game when I'm like, whoa, this game's awesome, it's the best game ever made, then
I think I get the hang of it.
Then I'll be like, whoa, Black Cat mission with Doctor Strange portals? That's crazy. This game's crazy. This game's awesome.
I wish I could skip this.
Then I'm like, whoa, ho, ho, things are really ramping up here. Things really got me now. What the f? I'm not sure exactly how to describe it. By no means is it a bad game. Hell, I wouldn't even call it a decent game. I think it's really good. But it's certainly a bit of a mixed bag. There are things I absolutely love about it with every fiber of my being, but there are some things about it that I hate with a burning passion. This review might seem mostly negative, but I promise I really do like this game. Mostly. I feel I should mention that most of my gripes with this game are really narrative related. In terms of gameplay, I actually prefer this game over the original. I heard some people saying that with all the new abilities, it kind of makes you feel less like Spider-Man, like almost as if you're playing a different character. While I understand that criticism, I also didn't really mind it. I know there's no real precedent for Spider-Man slinging big goo balls everywhere and flinging around tentacles like he's in a, well, you know. And at first I too was a little skeptical, but later on I just found it so satisfying. The sound design combined with the controller haptics really enhanced everything for me. I also found the gameplay to be a lot smoother, more fluid, a lot more open in terms of possibilities and combinations. And I love the way it smoothly transitions between cutscenes and gameplay. Yeah, I encountered the occasional bugs and funny glitches, but I've rarely ever played a game that had no glitches. Except God of War. These games are just, I don't know, they're just perfect somehow. I don't know what they did. Just overall, I can't really complain about the gameplay. That is, when you're playing as Spider-Man. Yeah, don't you worry. We'll get to that. After I beat this game the first time, I actually went back and played the PS4 version. Not the remaster, the OG PS4 disc copy of Spider-Man. The main reason being because, well, I like the original face, okay? I'm sorry. I like this face. I'm getting used to the new one. I am, slowly but surely, but I prefer... I'm sorry. Anyways, going back and playing that game really hammered home the problems I have with the second game. Really, they're all story and character related. The first game feels a lot more focused and more like a love letter to Spider-Man. I think the second one gets a little lost in the sauce sometimes, and we'll get into that. But first... I can't help but feel like they nerfed Peter Parker in this. He basically spends the whole game getting wrecked until someone comes and saves him. Miles still feels strong, but Peter really gets shafted here in my opinion. Which is kind of contradictory, because in terms of powers, I think Peter is way stronger than Miles in this game, but in every cutscene, he gets absolutely mollywopped. I mean, his fight with Venom is way harder than Miles' fight with Venom. And Peter is literally the anti-Venom. He gets easily choked out by Venom, and then he doesn't even get to do the alley-oop with Miles. It's f***ing MJ. And also, he's kind of a dimwit. In the opening mission, Giant Sandman is wreaking havoc on the city, which is also dumb because if he wants to hide from Craven, there are better ways to do it. I mean, you're Sandman. Anyways, in that mission, Peter tells Miles he has an idea of how he can beat Sandman, and I'm thinking, okay, here we go. How are we gonna stop this guy, Spider-Man? Well, Peter's big plan is to just punch Sandman in the face? Not once, not twice, but 3 times. What the f***? And just as a side note, this doesn't really matter for the game as a whole, but I hate Sandman in this game. He's got the most by-the-numbers dialogue, and his motivation makes absolutely no sense. It seems like they just wanted to justify having Sandman as the opening mission, but didn't really know how to work him in. I honestly think they would have been better off just making Craven the opening scene. And on that note, while I didn't enjoy Sandman, you know what I did enjoy? This take on Craven the Hunter is awesome. Yeah, he's a little too strong and he's got a whole disposable army that he doesn't really need, but the character of Craven himself is done exceptionally well in my opinion. And I love how they stayed committed to Craven straight up killing most of Spider-Man's villains. That's awesome. It also means we're safe from having to do those boss fights ever again. It's a win-win. From the way he's written, to his design, to the performance and the music, just as a whole, I found Craven to be very well done here. Good job, Sony. You can say you've done Craven well at least once. And on top of that, we also have to thank Craven because if not for him, Miles would have absolutely nothing to do in this game. While I felt Peter got shafted in the power department, I felt Miles kinda got shafted in the story department. And it's almost by design that they've done this. Like, it's baked into the story that Peter is kind of ignoring Miles and pushing him out of the way so he can hang out with Harry. It makes sense within the story, but I think that's just a weird choice. Like, this is the first time the two fully realized Spider-Men get to fight side by side with each other. But really, it feels more like another Peter story, with Miles interjecting every once in a while to do a side quest. Honestly, to me, it felt like the two main characters in this game were actually Peter and Harry. And if you had to pick a third lead, I guess it would have to be MJ? If we follow the pattern of the first two Spider games, the final boss ends up being someone that Spider-Man is close to, that the whole game's been building towards. In the first game, it was Doc Ock. In Miles Morales, it was Finn, who I absolutely hate. And in this game, it's Venom, aka Harry Osborn. But Miles isn't close to Harry. Therefore, it's Peter's villain, meaning, in a way, it's his game, when really it should be both of theirs. Like, Miles' biggest conflict within this story is between him and Martin Lee. He's grappling with his complicated feelings towards Lee as to whether he hates him or whether he understands him, and eventually it all leads to Martin Lee being redeemed. And don't get me wrong, I like all that stuff. Really, I do. But think about it. Miles' biggest emotional stake in this story is towards a previous villain who we've already seen and fought, who really isn't even a bad guy based on his motivations and the fact that he gets redeemed later. Whereas Peter gets to duke it out with the Lizard, Craven, and Venom. Yeah, Miles gets to fight Venom too, but he doesn't have the emotional stake in it that Peter does. Miles only has one-on-one conversation with Harry in the entire game. He barely even knows him. Let's break down Peter's involvement in the main story. Peter spends a big chunk of the game tracking down Craven, getting to know him, trying to find out his next move. He dies, gets the black suit, tracks down the Lizard so he can try to find a way to cure Harry, and then he gets into conflict with Harry when he doesn't want to give the symbiote back to him. Then he fights Craven, then he becomes the anti-Venom, and then he fights Venom in a battle to save his best friend. Alright, now let's break down Miles' part in the main story. He struggles to write his college essay, gets angry that Martin Lee has escaped, does the super cool Black Cat mission that doesn't really matter, he does the weird Mysterio mission that also doesn't really matter. He goes to look for some missing music instruments, which, again, doesn't really matter. And by the way, in that mission, you have to play as a Spider-Bot. Which, I mean, come on. Peter gets a Spider-Bot mission too, but his is an optional side quest. See the difference? This is a quote-unquote main story mission for Miles. And then they go and admit that it's not really a main story mission because if you want to continue the main story, you have to switch to Peter. Like, what were they thinking? The most significant moments in the game belong to Peter. He's much more proactive in the story, and all of the heart and emotion are during his missions. And Miles is just kinda there, or sometimes not even there at all. Maybe you should call Miles. Maybe you should call Miles. Where is Miles? Where is Miles? You know, it'd be nice if there were two Spider-Men, then
you know, I wouldn't have to do this all by myself.
We even get a team-up mission when Craven captures Tombstone and you have to rescue him. But instead of raiding the warehouse with Miles, the other Spider-Man, we raid it with Harry because Miles has to work on his essay? When Peter literally dies, Miles is nowhere to be found. He finds out about it later on the phone.
MJ told me you almost died.
Again, I get what they were going for with Miles and Harry, but I just think it was a weird choice. We finally get to play as the two Spider-Men, but it kind of felt like only one of them has any real stake in the story. And also this f***ing suit. Don't get me wrong, I actually really like Harry and Peter's relationship in this game. Harry himself is really likable and charismatic. There were a lot of scenes where I felt the genuine bond between the two of them. It really felt like they had been friends years before this game started. Remember in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 when Dane DeHaan shows up and we're all just kind of like, wait, these guys are friends? Yeah, to me, this is the opposite of that. They actually feel like real friends. That being said, Harry's involvement in the story does get a little confusing later on. Harry's bonding with the symbiote feels a little rushed. He's super happy all the time, even when he has the symbiote. He's constantly laughing and smiling. It's actually when he doesn't have it that he starts going crazy. Also, it seems like they tried to add more drama by implying that Harry resents Peter because Norman likes him more or something. It doesn't really make sense. In this game, and even the last game, Norman has dedicated everything he has to saving Harry. He's shown to care so strongly about him, almost to an unhealthy extent. So, what's the point of this scene? He's not being influenced by the symbiote here. Even when he was, he didn't show any signs of aggression or anger. In fact, he was happier than ever with it on. And it's shown in this game that once you get the symbiote off, you don't really get the urge to get it back, as seen with both Peter and MJ. So, is it just because Harry doesn't want to die? I mean, that's reasonable enough, but then that means, really, he's not being influenced by the symbiote, and it really is just him. Which again, complicates things even more, because he's constantly switching between this is the real me and oh no, what did I just do? Even Dr. Connors says at the end of the game that Harry and the symbiote are perfectly bonded now. So then why is he questioning himself?
We are your friends.
What's happening? Just hang on, buddy! Please, no. Leave him alone.
It kind of feels like they didn't quite think it through all the way. But really, all this rushed plot and character stuff is just there so that we, the audience, get to indulge in 19 inches of Venom!
Yeah, baby!
Venom is f***ing awesome in this game. I love how you get to play as him. I love how you get to kill everybody, snap that guy in half, f***ing bite that guy's head off.
Come and fight everybody! Kill everybody!
I love how he looks. I love how he sounds. I love how ridiculously overpowered he is, except for when I have to fight him. I love how thirsty he is for Peter. Amazing. 10 out of 10. And piggybacking off of Venom, let's go ahead and talk about... If I'm being completely honest with you guys, I think they missed the mark with Bully Lowenthal a little bit. I'm not talking about this version of Symbiote Spider-Man, because that's cool. In fact, I love that. The brutality, the dialogue, the gameplay, all of that was pretty much perfect in my opinion. He actually felt like a brutal version of Spider-Man. I'm talking about Symbiote Peter. Outside of the suit, he's a dick sometimes, and he says some pretty mean things.
Why don't you pop some more pills and say what you really feel?
Hey.
But really, it's not like everyone else is super nice and he's just a dick out of nowhere. Miles' mom is straight up disrespectful to Peter every chance she gets.
Go help him. Answer my call.
Trust me, I'll be on my best behavior.
You'd better be.
Isn't Peter the one who's supposed to be a dick? He hadn't said shit to her, and she doesn't know what the symbiote does. As far as she's concerned, he's just wearing a black suit. And while I'm on the subject, no one gives a about Miles' mom, at least not the one in this game. The most important thing about Miles' mom is her relationship with Miles. I don't give a if she's seeing somebody. I get they were trying to set up Silk as a byproduct of her dating life, but just set one seat aside for that. Don't make it such a big deal. It's weird. And also, don't do my guy Jeff like that. It hasn't even been that long. Either way, when it comes to being a bigger dick than Bully Lowenthal himself, I don't think anyone did a better job than Lois Lane Watson. MJ literally published a story about Spider-Man causing unnecessary damage to the city and doing more harm than good the day after seeing Peter possessed by the symbiote. She sees Peter literally not in control of his actions, and her bright idea is to go and write a story about him? What the f***? What was she trying to accomplish? And she's like, I wrote the truth. The hell you did? All Peter's been doing is trying to save Harry. She acts like this is the first time there's been excessive property damage in a Spider-Man fight. And it was the lizard who was destroying everything. This is a great segue for me to talk about why MJ f***ing sucks. Stop making us play as MJ. Nobody on God's green earth paid $70 so they could play as Mary Jane Watson. I can't believe they actually doubled down on the MJ missions from the first game.
I knew that those missions weren't the fan favorites coming out of Spider-Man 1. We knew we had to make her more of a proactive, capable person. It's important to have her be a capable hero. You know, this might sound cliche or whatever, cheesy, but like you don't need to have powers to be a hero. In the original plan, she wasn't a playable character in the last mission, but we thought, hey, can we get all three of them working as a team in that final mission? So at the very end, she's there. And if she's low OP, I don't give a shit.
Like, I'm absolutely gobsmacked by this. The fact that we, the fans, can call out to the people in charge with ways to improve so more people like the things that they do, and his response is just, I don't give a shit, dude. So you don't give a shit what your fans want? Well, if you want people to like your game more, then you should give a shit. Imagine if, in the last mission of Arkham Knight, in order to stop the Scarecrow and the gas that's flooding the streets of Gotham, turning everybody insane, you have to play as Oracle. Not Batgirl, f***ing Oracle. Except, she's more powerful than Batman himself. Her wheelchair is kitted out with weapons and she one-shots everyone because she has to be a capable hero. Except, now that I think about it, that's still a bad example because at least Oracle actually is a hero and more helpful and supporting than f***ing MJ. Newsflash, dickball, Mary Jane Watson is not a superhero. If you really needed to have a female hero in the final mission, why not use Wraith? You've already established her in the game. You've already shown that she's capable of fighting symbiotes and Spider-Man himself. Why not get her in? Why not bring back Sable, or why not keep Black Cat around a little longer? Matter of fact, why don't you use any of these female Marvel characters who actually have powers? Oh, but they're Marvel, they're not related to Spider-Man. Okay, then why not use these female characters who are related to Spider-Man who actually have powers? Well, we can't have another playable character. Well, first of all, clearly you can because you made us play as MJ. And also, we never asked for that shit. It's Spider-Man. We want to play as Spider-Man. Her involvement in the final mission is to go get the meteorite while Miles distracts the symbiotes outside, which, by the way, that doesn't even matter because there are more inside and they're not even a threat whatsoever. But my question for that mission is, why not have Miles go get the meteorite? He has camouflage. She's literally Lois Lane, but with a gun. And she's more powerful than both Spider-Men combined. I played this on ultimate difficulty, the hardest difficulty in the game. She was able to take 3 hits from a symbiote juggernaut. The same juggernaut that one-shot me as Peter just 1 mission ago. And he has fully upgraded health. Well, I mean, she has to do something. We can't just make her a damsel in distress. Okay, then just don't put her in danger. Then she doesn't have to be saved. But the thing is, the game does put her in danger, and even then, you don't save her. The game's objective for that mission is to help MJ save herself. Come on! Also, it's apparently not okay to put MJ in danger so she can be saved. Instead, let's put Peter in danger and have MJ save him all the time. That's fair. But still, even after all this, she's still not the worst playable character in this game. That's because Haley exists. Overall, I feel this game is just shy of greatness. I honestly think they were a little too ambitious and maybe even a little too excited about the idea and the potential of this game, but they maybe weren't given the time or resources to properly realize it. Either way, I still like it. It has too much good in it for me to call it a bad game. Really, I think it embodies the definition of a mixed bag. There was a lot of stuff that I loved, but also a lot of things that I really hated. Really, it was just MJ. Either way, like the video if you enjoyed, let me know in the comments how you felt about this game. I try my best to respond to each and every one of you, and as always...